Bhimaya?
Hello.
Yeah, Bhimaya, you can go ahead. Can you brief about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, hi. Uh, my name is Bhimaya. Actually, I had completed my master's in mechatronics in 2016, and I worked for human resource and HR business partner for 6 years. Along with that, I had experience in ERP implementation and HRIS related projects. So I have completed around 4 to 5 end-to-end implementation. And right now I work as a senior staff business system analysis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ash. Okay. Neha?
Hello everyone. Hello everyone. So currently I'm working as a data engineer in an IT industry, and I have experience of 8.5 years, and working on the ETL tools like IICS, Power Center, etc. And I'm looking to uh, move to cloud technologies. So I already have experience in a Snowflake. So in addition to that, I'm looking forward to learn GCP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Santosh?
Hi everyone, this is Santosh. Currently, I'm working as an SAP consultant. I'm looking forward to learn about GCP. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Santosh, thank you. And Saurabh?
Hello everyone, my name is Saurabh Thakur. I have overall 5.4 years of experience in IT. So right now I'm working in QA. So I just want to upgrade myself. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Saurabh. And Sudarshan?
Hi. Myself, I have totally 15 plus years of oral ID experience, and present I'm working as a Hadoop admin. Data engineering is one of my interesting roles. Uh, and interesting to move to that profile. So that's why I'm looking to learn this program.
Got it. And Vinay?
Yeah, I'm currently working in Accenture with the 10 months of experience. Working in a support project, want to shift to a product-based company.
Okay. And Janil?
Good evening, sir. Good evening, everyone. My name is Zenil Roy. I just completed my graduation before 2 months from Government Engineering College, Gandhinagar. And I'm excited about the cloud in general. I'm working as an analyst in business process management in company called Sears.
Okay. Got it. And Sai, can you brief of yourself? Sai Ishwar? Sai, can you able to hear us? Okay. Yes, Swagat, you can go ahead.
Hi everyone. So myself, Swagat. I am having around 9 years of experience in IT, and I'm working as a data engineer. So let me share my screen, and I'll be talking about the content of this course and how we are going to progress. Let me know if you are able to see my screen. Are you guys able to see my screen, or it's lagging? It's
So
not.
it's lagging.
Are you using app or web, Swagat?
I have opened
Yes.
right
Yes,
now.
now we can. Now we can.
Okay, fine. You are able to see the PPT, right?
Yes.
Okay. So talking about this course, and this course we have designed mainly for the data engineer. So in case of the Google Cloud, just like on any other cloud services, in case of Google Cloud also, there are many services which are available. And my voice is also clear, right? Or it's lagging? Can someone confirm if my voice is clear?
Yeah, it's clear actually. Yeah.
Okay. So there are some update which is happening on my system. So that's why I'm asking you. Okay, fine. So yeah, so this course we have mainly designed for the data engineer. As I told, in case of Google Cloud, if you'll see, we have many services in case of the Google Cloud. So we have services for like for data engineer, we have services for machine learning engineer, we have services for data scientist, we have services for DevOps people as well, we have services for web dev people. But in this course, we are going to focus on the services which are, guys, you can put on the chat, but I'll come to chat after explaining about the course. So let me explain about the course. Then if you have any doubts, anything, you can definitely put on the chat. I'll see the chat after explaining it. So, but as I told, in this course, we are mainly going to focus on the services which are related to the data engineer. So in case of the data engineering, if you'll see, so mainly when you are creating the data pipeline, so first of all, you will be having some data ingestion system. And then once you will ingest the data from, let's say, various sources, we need to store the data in some place. So the next place will be the data storage. After storing the data, we need to apply some transformation. And then we need to store the data in our data warehouse, right? So if you'll see in each of these pages of creating the data pipeline, we have certain services of Google Cloud, not only one services. In each of the page, you will see there are multiple options. We are going to discuss about all of the services. Okay. So let me tell you like what are the services we are going to cover. So initially, in maybe first week, we are going to cover the fundamentals of the data engineering. And after in the fundamentals of the data engineering, we'll be covering about the ETL and ELT concept, and then the data warehousing concept, and then the data modeling concept, and the SCD concept. So these are the fundamental concept which we are going to cover in the first week. And then from the second week onwards, we are going to cover the GCP services. So in case of the GCP services, we'll start with the IAM services and the basic GCP services. So in case of the basic GCP services, we are going to cover the Google Kubernetes services. We are going to cover Google Compute Engine services. We are going to cover the application engine, App Engine. We are going to cover Cloud Run. We are going to cover Cloud Function. So these are the services which we are going to cover in as part of the basic services along with the IAM. Then we are going to cover the storage and the database services. So where we are going to cover the GCS, Google Cloud Storage. And then for the databases, we have multiple options. In case of Google Cloud, So we are going to cover all the NoSQL and SQL databases which are there. For example, in case of NoSQL, we have Cloud SQL, we have Cloud Spanner. In case of the NoSQL, we have the option like big table, the data store, and the flash store. Similarly, for other NoSQL, we have main store. So those are the services which we are going to cover. Then coming to the data warehousing services. So we are using BigQuery for the data warehousing. So that we are also going to cover. And then we are going to cover the data processing services. So in case of the data processing services, we are going to cover services like you might have heard about these services, Data Pro. We are going to cover Data Flow, Data Fusion, and Data Prep. After this, we are going to cover the next services, which is like for orchestration purposes, we are going to cover. So whenever you are creating the pipeline and you are deploying your pipeline in the production, you are not going to run your pipeline manually. You are going to schedule your pipeline and the pipeline will be run as per the schedule. So for that, you need the help of some orchestration services, and we are using Airflow in most of the data engineering project. There are multiple ways to use the Airflow. But if you want to use the Airflow in case of Google Cloud, we have a service called Cloud Composer, so that we are going to cover. And also you can use the cloud workflow as well to orchestrate, to schedule your pipeline. But mainly we are using Airflow. Also, we'll be covering the cloud workflow as well, but we are not using this cloud workflow. Mostly people see in the data engineering project, they are using the Airflow. After completing this, we are also going to cover some of the services which are related to machine learning and the data analyst. So for example, we are for the visualization, we are using Looker Studio, so that will be also covered. And then we'll be also covering the data management services like data catalog and the DLP API, and some of the message learning APIs like Vertex AI, Auto ML, BQML. So those are the services also we are going to cover. So this is what we are going to cover in this course. And the prerequisite for this course is, since you are planning to switch to data engineering field, or you are already working, some of you are already working in the data engineering field. So the prerequisite for this course, like if you want to work as a data engineer, I will suggest like to start learning and to on Python, to start gaining knowledge on the Python, SQL, and PySpark. This is very, very important. We are also going to cover this in the course, but not in the regular classes. So mostly we are going to cover it as the crash course, but I will not tell, like I'll be honest here. So I don't think that will be enough for you. You definitely, if somebody does not have any knowledge, they can attend those class courses and they'll have some background knowledge. They'll gain some fundamental knowledge, but they need to practice different types of code, different types of logic, so that you'll be able to crack the interview, the data engineering interview. But if someone does not have any background from Python, SQL, PySpark, definitely you are welcome to attend the weekend classes. But in the weekend classes, as I told, we are going to discuss only about this PySpark and Python. If somebody already has knowledge, they don't need to attend the weekend classes, because it will be most like crash course, and you can also go through the recordings as well. So regarding the classes, how we are going to conduct. So this class will be around the course, complete course will be covered in between 40 to 40, 35 to 40 hours it will take to cover. And the regular classes will be conducted on only weekdays. So mostly in the morning time, we are planning. So maybe 7:30 to 8:30 or 8:30 to 9. 8:30 to 9:30 or 8 to 9. In between these 3 times, we are going to conduct every day, every weekdays, we'll have 1 hour of class. Then the weekend classes we don't have, like I will try to schedule it as per my availability. If anybody wants to join, then definitely they can join. But I'll also help you out, like I'll tell you like from where to learn Python, SQL, and PySpark, how to do your platform setup, which tools you need to install on your desktop so that you can practice Python, SQL, and all. Yeah, apart from these things, like I think I missed some of the services, like for streaming, we are also like covering, obviously, it's a part of the course, the POPs of I missed that. And apart from that, there are some third-party tools like we are using nowadays in the data engineering project. Like if you are aware about the data engineering field, nowadays people are slowly moving towards low ETL tool kind of thing. Okay. So we are also going to cover DBT, which is the data build tool. And along with DBT, like we are going to cover how to integrate DBT with the BigQuery, how to create the data pipeline, what's the use of DBT. So all those details we are going to cover. Along with DBT, we are also going to cover a Great Expectation. So Great Expectation is another tool which we are using for data quality. Great Expectation or Soda, anything like. But these are the types of tools which we are mainly using to check the data quality in your data pipeline. Okay, so that also we are going to cover, and then these things will be covered when we are discussing about the BigQuery. So also we are going to cover the data form, but that form is another tool which is also similar to DBT. So these are the tools like which you can integrate with any of the data warehouse, not only with BigQuery. You can integrate with Snowflake. You can integrate with Databricks, PostgreSQL. You can integrate with any of the data warehouse, and you can develop a pipeline. If somebody does not know Python, that is also fine, because this pipeline you can create only using SQL. And then you need to know some of the concept like macros and the Jinja template, and then you will be able to develop the pipeline. So yeah, so this is what we are going to cover, and let me show you the slides. So this course, like if also somebody is planning for certification as well, definitely I recommend you, like if you have not if you have not completed, if you have not attended the data engineering certification, definitely I recommend you to go for the certification after the completion of the course. If you are getting any reimbursement from your company, any voucher you are getting from your company, definitely go for the certification. We are going to provide you the sample questions. If possible, after completing the course, maybe 1 or 2 classes, we go through those sample questions. Definitely, those are not DOMs, but you can use those sample questions, and then definitely those sample questions are going to be helpful for your certification exams. But you need to practice and all of the services of GCP, because in certification exam, they are not covering any or some of the particular services. They are going to cover all the services, like also some of ML services also they are going to cover in the certification exam. So that's why we have included that in our course. Though it will not be covered in detail, also in certification, they are not going to ask you in detail about those ML services, but still you will get some fundamental questions related to those ML services in the exam as well. So in the slide, as you can see, there are multiple certifications in GCP as well. And definitely these services, after learning all these services, you can go for any certification exam, not only for data engineering, but definitely we are going to cover 100% syllabus for data engineering. But also if you are compared with cloud architect, or if you compare with cloud developer, you will be able to also see like mostly 50% of the syllabus of cloud architect or cloud developer also be covering in this course. And regarding the GCP certification, data engineering certification exam, so in the exam you will get 2 hours, 120 minutes, and the registration cost will be around $2. Okay. So you will get MCQ based question where either you need to select one option, or in some of the questions you may need to select multiple options as well. So this type of questions you are getting in case of data engineering certification exam. But in case of cloud, they are not asking any case study based questions in data engineering certification exam. But if you are going for higher level of certification like cloud architect and all, so in those based on the case studies. But in data engineering certification exam, they are asking just the like they're asking direct questions related to the GCP services, GCP data engineering services. So as I told, like these are the things which I mentioned, like we are going to cover, and we are going to also cover many projects. Okay, so many small project, medium level project, and complex project also we are going to cover while discussing about this, while discussing about all these services. How we are going to do the project? So as I told you like how we are planning to cover all of the services of GCP. So for example, like if we are covering any like particular services, let's say we are covering the GCS services, like we have covered the cloud storage services. Then we are going to do the project related to only cloud storage. Okay. Similarly, let's say we have covered cloud storage and we have covered BigQuery as well. We have covered cloud function as well. So whatever the project can be possible, can be done using those three services, we are going to do that type of project. Okay. That is how we are going to do the project. And all the Ganesh is going to coordinate with you, and he will be creating a Google Drive, and also there will be a WhatsApp group where all of you like who are joining the course, they will be part of that WhatsApp group, and they can, or I will be also there in that WhatsApp group. If you have any issues related to installing any tool, related to setting up any tool, you can directly ask in that group. And with that, as I told, Ganesh will be coordinating with you. Each class will be recorded. Recorded sessions will be available on the Google Drive. And then all the materials, all the codes, everything will be shared with you in that Google Drive. So that is how we are going to progress in this course. If anyone is having any doubts, anything, they can definitely unmute yourself and ask.
Hi, I have a question. How this course is divided into theory and hands-on. I mean, I want to know that how much will I get chance to hands-on, or I need to do it by myself. So
No, so the course will be, you can say, 30% of the theory and 70% will be hands-on. Some of the hands-on I'll be doing in the class. I'll be showcasing you like how to do it in the class. And then after that, I'll also give you some assignment which you need to complete. So that is how it's planned.
okay.
Hi. See, you mentioned that now Python and SQL, PySpark related prerequisite knowledge, and who doesn't have, then there will be a crash course on weekends. So, in case in myself, I don't have much exposure in that area, so that crash course knowledge is sufficient to learn this program, or do I need to do any before joining this, I need to complete those learnings, and how I need to plan it actually. Can you guide me, please?
Yeah, sure. So you don't need to complete those and then you can join the course. So you can definitely, if you don't have any exposure to those tools or those like languages, you can join the weekend classes where we'll be discussing about the course. And definitely even the weekend also, like I will cover some of the one to project as well, end to end. Obviously, it will not be related to GCP. It will be just in using the either with Python with SQL or using PySpark and then Python SQL. So it's going to be helpful definitely. But apart from that, because there are so many things, and when it comes to Python, SQL, or learning any script, it always comes down to how much knowledge you have in building the logic. Okay, because in interview, like let's say I'm covering some scenario. In interview, the interviewer might ask you some different types of situational questions, right? So it's all depend on you how much effort you are putting in building a logic and how much knowledge you have in case of Python as well. So it depends on you how much practice you are doing. But definitely the weekend courses are going to be helpful for you. So if also like somebody who's having the knowledge or medium level of knowledge in Python SQL, they can also join. I'll advise, because definitely it's going to be helpful. They may skip the initial class where we are going to discuss about the basic of Python, basics of SQL. But while discussing about any project, they can also join those classes. It's going to be helpful for them as well. So yeah, you don't need to do any other courses. I'll guide you as I told. It's up to you how much effort you are putting.
Right. Good to know that. And see, example, let's say like if I need to put extra effort on weekend classes to cover those areas, does it make me to lack of learning in regular classes? Because if I don't have that much exposure in SQL and Python and PySpark, that will be some lack of learning these other tools and the other services, right? So it won't be like that. I can be picked up and I can follow your trainings.
Yes. So when let's say I'm discussing about the Google Cloud storage, right? So whenever it comes to any cloud storage, any cloud services there in Google Cloud, so there are multiple ways to interact with the cloud services, right? So you can use either the console mode, you can use the cloud console, or you can use the CLI mode, or you can use any client API. Okay. And in case of the client API, we are going to use Python or PySpark or SQL here. But not only Python SQL, you can also use Java, Scala as well. But we are going to use Python, PySpark, and SQL. So whenever I'm explaining anything related to that, any code and any job, I'll be explaining in detail. Okay, so any beginner also will be able to understand. And simultaneously, as I told from the day one, like initially, like from the day one, once you will join the course, we'll start the weekend classes. Okay. So as I told, so definitely by the time, let's say I'm discussing about any services of clouds, you will be able to understand that time. Like by that time, we would have completed Python and SQL, some of the concepts you would have already covered. So it will be easier for you to understand that as well. And as I told, I'm not like telling you at least this is a script and you can understand it, how it is happening, and then you can go and run it. So that is not what I'm going to do. I'll be explaining about each functionality, any function I'm using, any module I'm using, everything I'll be going to explain you in that script. So even like somebody is a beginner, they will be able to understand that. But as I told, it's not sufficient. Okay. So when you are coming to going for interview, they're going to ask you any random questions related to Python, SQL, and PySpark. Maybe those questions are not covered in the weekend classes or any classes. So you need to keep on practicing on that, so that like once the course is covered, you can go for it, you can crack it. But I can guarantee you, like whatever the question they are going to ask you from GCP, you will be able to answer that. But when it comes to data engineering interview, so usually the interview will start with a coding, by checking your coding skills in Python, SQL, and PySpark. And once that is done, towards the end part of the interview, they will check your cloud knowledge. That's it. You will tell them. And also when it comes to checking your cloud knowledge, as I told, like in GCP, we are going to cover so many services, right? But you don't need to tell them like you know all the services. So you already have, like some of the people, you are already having the experience as well. And we are also going to, I'll provide you some sample resume after completion of the course, which you can refer to modify your resume accordingly. Those who don't have knowledge in the data engineering. And also you can connect with me, and we both can work, like go through your resume, and we can check like where we can put your data engineering experience. Okay. But when it comes to the interview, as I told, in the initial part of the interview, they are going to check your coding skills. And it all depends on the, how much experience so you have. Let's say if you have up to 8-9 years of experience, where people usually prefer to join as team lead or tech lead. So that kind of experience, they're going to check your coding knowledge. If you have experience more than 10-12 years, I don't think they are going to ask you to write any code, but they will be asking you some architect level of questions, like why you are selecting this service, why not that, how you are going to create your data pipeline, what services you are going to include in that data pipeline. Those kind of questions you can expect. But as I told, anything related to the GCP services, definitely you will be able to answer. And in the interview, they're not going to ask you the questions on all the services, right? Let's say in that process, they're hiring you for some project. And in the project, nobody uses all the services of GCP. Let's say the project they are using data flow along with BigQuery, along with GCS they are using. So whatever the questions they are going to ask you, it will be restricted to these services. They are not going to ask you any questions on data proc or any questions on the data fusion. Nobody, they're not interested like how much knowledge you have, because they have a requirement. They're looking for someone who is having strong knowledge in these services. So they will be asking you the questions only related to these services. That is how the data engineering interview happen. Yeah, I hope I have clarified you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, hi Daksh, Ankit here. I have some queries. So actually we are going to the data engineering course, right? The end-to-end. So what are the source systems are we planning to cover as building a data pipeline? And like, are we going to build a small data warehouse or a data lake? Let's say as part of the practical session. And or let's say you will be covering JSON or any other source system as well, like DB connectivity or the SAP connectivity, because data fusion has lots of connectors, right? So what are the connectors we are going to cover?
Okay, so so coming to the data sources, we are going to connect with the, like in the data sources, let's say in your project, you are using something like Teradata, or you are using some SQL. So those things we are not going to cover, like how to do migration from Teradata to BigQuery, how to connect to Teradata. So those things are also not possible to cover here. But coming
Okay.
to your second part of the question, like what are the file formats we are going to cover? So we are going to cover all the file formats, not only JSON, we are also going to see how to work with Parquet, WRC and all. So data fusion, yeah, data fusion is having lots of connectors, lots of plugins. You can connect with any of the services. We are going to connect with Cloud SQL. Okay, so in the Cloud SQL, we have three versions. If you see, we have MySQL version. You can create MySQL instance. You can create SQL Server instance. You can also create the Postgre SQL instance in Cloud SQL as well. We are going to see how to connect with the Cloud SQL, and using that process, like you can connect with any SQL data warehouse. So yeah, so we are not going to connect with any other data sources, whether it's Teradata or any other data sources.
Okay, so in the JSON part, what kind of JSON we are covering? We are covering a simple JSON or a nested JSON as well?
All JSON.
I missed it. I'm sorry.
All the JSONs, nested JSON, simple JSON, new line JSON formatted, all kinds of JSON we are going to cover.
Okay, okay. And are we going to cover the monitoring part as well? How we can do the monitoring of the running pipeline?
Yeah, not in detail, but we will be also covering about the logging and monitoring, but not in detail.
Okay, so what logging service we are going to use here?
Cloud logging.
You
So
mean the
in
logging explorer, which we
yes,
have.
yes, which you have in GCP.
Okay. And are we going to cover the BigQuery as well here?
Yeah, you already mentioned like BigQuery.
Okay. Okay. So BigQuery, we will be covering as part of the, means what will be our target here? The BigQuery will be target or the big table will be target?
What if we target like the
Let's say you are bringing some source systems, right? So when you build a ETL pipeline, there will be a target, right? So means this data engineering course designed as part of the data warehousing or as part of the data lake?
So it has both, obviously, the data lake as well as data warehousing as well. So it has complete everything. And so in the pipeline, yeah, in most of the pipeline, we are going to target the BigQuery. We are going to store the data, the final data, transform data, we are going to store in BigQuery.
Okay, okay. So and how we are going to cover the costing part over here? Means the costing monitoring.
Yeah, so costing and pricing, I will be covering, like I'm discussing about cloud storage. So because if you see for each of the services, costing are different, how
Right.
the will charge you. So whenever I'm discussing about the services, whether it is cloud storage or BigQuery, so that time I will be covering how GCP will charge you based on the resources which you are using.
Okay. Okay, so are we going to cover the how to reduce the costing as well in the services? Let's say in BigQuery or the data fusion.
Yeah, that will be part of the optimization, BigQuery optimization. So yeah.
Okay. So can you just ask, don't take it in a different way. Okay, how the BigQuery uh, do the costing? It does the costing on the basis of the storage or the basis of the query run?
Obviously both. So it stores the data. So based on the storage cost and based on how you are running the query. So based on both, it will charge you.
Okay. So for each query, there will be a cost, you are saying, in the BigQuery.
Yes, for how much data it's processing when you are running the query. So how much data it's going to scan. So that is something called as dry run concept in BigQuery. So where you can not only in BigQuery, in most of the data warehousing services, there is something concept of dry run, where you
Okay.
can use the dry run to check how much data is going to scan once you run that query. So it is recommended to check that right on if you are not sure about your query, how much data it's going to scan. So yeah, but to your question, it's going to charge you for both running the query as well as for the storage cost as well.
Okay, okay. So let's say in comparison, a BigQuery equivalent to Redshift in the AWS, right?
Hmm.
And what will be equivalent to ADF here in the Azure?
Synapse, Azure Synapse you can compare.
Okay, and the ETL tool wise, so Data Fusion will be here, right?
Yeah, we are also like there is one class like where we are going to do the comparison between all the major cloud service provider like AWS, GCP, and Azure. But as you asking, so for the data warehousing layer, right now we are using somebody is using Snowflake, which is a SaaS-based services. Some people are using BigQuery. Some people, those who are using Amazon, they are using Redshift. Some people are also using just Databricks tables, or in case of Azure, I am telling. So some people are also using Synapse as well, where they can create the databases in Synapse tables they are using. So these are the data warehouse options which we have. And
Okay.
And for like ETL tool, like we were asking, like kind of which is similar to ADF. ADF like data factory, which is like where you can there are many connectors, there are many blocks for sources, for transformation, for seeing, and any transformation you want to do. So the alternative service which is available in GCP is the data fusion. But yeah, if you compare ADF with data fusion, ADF, I think it has lots of functionalities. But mostly, like if you want a low ETL tool, which is the ADF, where you don't need to write any kind of script, you can create your complete pipeline by doing the configuration by connecting with any particular source. You can build up your pipeline. So similar concept is there in case of data fusion also. There are lots of plugins are available. But I feel like ADF is much more mature service compared to data fusion.
I have one question on the top of this. Apart from theory, apart from learning theoretically about SCD and pipelines and all, so do we have hands-on sessions also included in the course for implementing end-to-end pipeline?
Yeah, like as I told, let's say we are discussing about the cloud storage right now. Okay. So whatever the hands-on we are going to do, it will be related to like along with Python, we are going to use the cloud storage, how to interact with the cloud storage in different way using Python. Similarly, let's say after completing cloud storage, we have completed cloud function. Then cloud function has different kind of requirement. So we are going to integrate Python along with cloud function services, along with cloud storage services. Similarly, let's say that we have covered BigQuery, and then we are again going to integrate BigQuery here. So that is how it's the hands-on are planned, like hands-on whatever we have planned here. So that is how like we are going to cover in the course.
Okay.
So it will, sorry.
Are we going to cover any API also here as part of this API data fetching?
API, like you are saying, fetching the data from Twitter or Spotify kind of API?
Yeah, any API, let's say, just for the learning purpose. Let's say how we can.
Till now, not. We have not included, but to definitely we can integrate with Twitter API if you want to do that data analysis, fetching the data from the Twitter API or from the Spotify API. Also, I can tell you, but right now we have not included that in this course. Yeah, I think somebody else was also asking. Was it Neha? Anyone else is having any question? Hello? 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 Am I
Yes,
audible?
yes, you are audible. Yeah.
I think you were asking some questions, maybe.
Um, no. Just a follow-up question that you said that we will be learning about this GCP functions and all, and using Python and other functions. So there will be hands-on experience on implementing end-to-end pipeline, right? Not in fragments, but end to end, how it is going to fetch the data, then transform the data, and then load the data, or maybe ELT.
Yes. So end-to-end pipeline, whatever you are saying, and this is also like I told, our kind of pipeline, but you are saying complete pipeline. Let's say you have some data ingestion, and then you have the data transformation, and then finally you are loading the data to your data warehousing, and you have orchestrated this pipeline. So these things we can only complete, we can do once we'll complete the cloud composure. So we can do that. Like once we'll complete, obviously when we are completing discussing about the cloud culture, by that time we will have completed all the remaining services of data engineering. And we can we are going to discuss about this pipeline as well, how to schedule the pipeline, how to fetch the data, how to do some data transformation, and then how to load the transform data to the data warehouse.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. Okay, so let's see a small demo. And here we are going to use the, as I told, dbt along with BigQuery. So, so we are not going to cover like how to install dbt, how to set up that in the in your environment. But let me just give you the background about the dbt. So dbt is known as the data build tool. Okay. So it's a third-party tool, and it is mainly used to do the data transformation, to do the data quality check, to do the data pipeline versioning as well. You can do. So the advantage of using dbt is if you don't know Python, Spark, PySpark, so still you can create a pipeline. You can run your pipeline just by, if you know SQL, you can use SQL to run your complete pipeline. So initially when dbt was introduced, it was supporting only SQL, but right now in the recent version which they have released, you can also create your pipeline using the Python as well. So you can, as I told, you can integrate dbt not only with BigQuery, you can integrate with any data warehouse, any Snowflake data warehouse or Databricks, Azure Synapse, PostgreSQL. You can connect dbt with any of the data warehouse. But since we are discussing about GCP, so we are going to see how we can integrate dbt and how we can do the data transformation using dbt and the BigQuery. So BigQuery is the data warehousing platform. Okay. So as you can see on my screen, this is how the BigQuery console looks like. So here you'll be having a project ID. Inside the project ID, you can create data set. Inside the data set, you can create the table. So this is the table which I have created. And this is my source table, which I am going to use in this demo. Okay. So the screen is stopped. Table name is not just. SCD concept you can implement using anything. So SCD is a data engineering concept. So which is like slowly changing dimension tables. So you can implement it using SQL only. We are going to see like how to implement that in the BigQuery. On the BigQuery table also we are going to see. For the scripting wise, we can use either SQL, we can use Python or PySpark, but we are going to implement that on the BigQuery table. So this is the table which I have created. Because of the size of the data we have stored on this table, it's not able to show the data, but there are some functionality as well. Like here, you can see the details of the table. You can see the preview of the table, how data are present. Okay. This is the source table which we are going to use. And I have the data transformation which I have already done. So if you'll see here, so here we are using BigQuery, okay? And here, once you'll do the setup for the BigQuery, so all this folder structure will be automatically created, okay? And in BigQuery, there are certain concepts, as you can see here on my screen. So this is the DBT, the DBT cheat sheet. In DBT, we are using, in DBT, there are two types of versions are available. So there is DBT Cloud, and then there is DBT Core. Okay, so we are using DBT. We are using DBT Core. Okay, DBT Core is the open source version. You can store it. You can install it on your laptop, on desktop, and then you can start using it. It's the open source tool, DBT Core, where you need to use the CLI command. But in case of DBT Cloud, it has the paid version. But still you can use you can create an account for 14 days, I think 14 days or 30 days. I don't remember exactly, but you can create a free trial account in case of DBT Cloud as well. And it is completely UI based, user interface. Everything is on DBT Cloud is on user interface based. Whereas the DBT Core, which we are using, is the open source platform. And if you are going to learn about DBT, go to their documentation and you can learn how to do the setup for the DBT. So as I told, once you do the initialization, it's going to create all this folder structure, and then the data model you will have to use. So there are so many things in DBT, and it's not possible to discuss about everything. But let's discuss about some of the important things which we are using here in this demo. So first one is the macro. Okay, so macro you can consider is as a Python function or any macro, like let's say you are using in case of Power BI if you have an experience, or if you have an experience with the Excel. So where you can write a macro and then to automate some of the tasks or to do some repetitive task, you can write a macro and then you can call the macro whenever you need it. So that is the same concept which we are using in case of DBT as well. But this is how like you need to write a macro in case of DBT. And here you can see I'm creating a function or macro where I'm filtering some of the data. And the macro name is cleanup numeric macro. And this macro I am using in my data model. So the first data model is the, this is my first data model where I am going to extract data from my source, which I just now showed you, right? I have created the data set, and inside the data set, I have created the tables. So that is the data which I'm going to refer. And you can see here in this SQL script, I'm calling that macro, and into that macro, I'm passing the column name. Okay, so these are the column names which are there in that data set. And then in the next data model, I'm using, like, this is my first data model, right? The call is scorecard. And using this data model, I'm creating another data model with the name FastGen data model. You can see the reference. It is using the college scorecard model. And then again, I'm doing some more filtration based on the condition where I have mentioned in the where clause. So based on those conditions, again, I'm applying some transformation on my college scorecard data model. So from this data model, again, I'm creating another next data model, which is the FastGen top 10 data model. So where you can see the source is the second data model, which is selective FastGen, that is the data source. And using that, again, we are filtering out and we are selecting only top 10 records. So these are the three data model which I have created here. And this is the another file, like the DBT project file, where you need to mention the profile name. So through the profile, we are going to connect from my local, because the DBT code is present in my local laptop, and also I'm going to run it in my local laptop. So to connect from local laptop to BigQuery environment or to the GCP environment, you need to create a DBT profile. And in that profile, you need to use the service account keys. So apart from that, also you need to mention about the data model which you are using. So this is the data model, the profile name which I am using, the project name. And then inside that project, I am creating all these data model, whether I am creating views or I am creating table. So I have mentioned that in the DBT project. How I'm going to run it, I have installed the Anaconda. So if somebody has knowledge in the Python, they might be aware about the Anaconda. And I have created the virtual environment. So inside that virtual environment, you can install all the dependencies, whatever you need to install to run this script, whatever the dependencies, libraries are needed, you can create a virtual environment either using Python, or if you are using Anaconda distribution to set up the Python, you can use that to install all the dependencies. Okay. So I'm going to activate that virtual environment, and activity BigQuery. I think this is the virtual environment. Yeah. So in this virtual environment, I have installed all the dependency. Let's say I'm going to check the DBT version which I have installed. So it's going to show me what is the DBT version I have installed in this virtual environment. Let's wait for some time. It should not take so much time. Actually, I should have, there are some update which happened to Zoom, and then should have restarted my system, I think. So to do the debug, okay, to check whatever the configuration settings we have done, you can run the dbt debug command. So as I told, we have installed the dbt code, and you need to interact with this dbt through the CLI command. Okay, so it's like running. So let's say you can see what is the use of dbt debug, and you can see on this cheat sheet. You don't need to remember all this command, but because as you can see, there are so many command line, so many CLI commands are there. It's not possible to remember all the command, and some of the command also there are many argument also you can pass to the command as well. So you don't need to remember it, but you can every time whenever you need, you can refer something like this kind of cheat sheet, and then you can run the command. As you can see, the dbt debug, it debugs the dbt connections and the project. Okay, so if there is any issue in my connection, it will show me like there is issue and you need to change that. Okay, so right now it's telling like it's fine, but I'm not sure it's fine because I did this setup long back. Let me check once. So once you do the dbt setup, there is something called a profile file. Okay, and in that profile file, which will be in YAML format. So this is not fine because I'm not using this project. So I need to change this. So you can see this is the profile file through which we are connecting. Okay, and we are using the service account keys. So you can create a profile file. Let's say you are working with Snowflake. You can create a profile file like this for the Snowflake. For Snowflake data warehouse. As I told, the dbt you can integrate with any data warehouse. So let me change this profile file. It is showing the it's fine, but I'm no longer using that project right now. So I need to go to IAM service account, and I need to create service account keys. This is the project. And let me see what all permission it is having. Okay, it's having enough permissions. Let me, this key is there. Okay. So I have generated the keys, and I have changed my profile settings. This is the only place where you need to change. I can run the debug command again. Obviously, it will show that everything is fine. So let's wait for the debug command to run. Yeah, so right now it is showing the correct project. Fine. Now it is showing the correct project name. So now to create the model, we can run the command dbt run. Okay. So it's going to create the data set. You will see here. If you will see here, this is the data set which I am using, right? So that is the data set which it's going to create in the BigQuery. And we can do the refresh here. Yeah, so it has started creating the data set, and then it will create all the models inside the data set. You can see it has created the function, and then it is going to create all the models, whatever the model I explained to you, right? There is source model, and then the first model, the second model which we are creating. So one by one, it's going to create all the model in the BigQuery. So let's wait for some time. So wherever we have mentioned tables, it will create tables. Wherever we have mentioned views, it will create views. Okay. So you can see it has created the models. I can refresh the content, and you can see there is. So these are the default model which I forgot to delete. So You can remove this model. These are not important, but these are the model which we created. So this is a view, and then this is your table. So which we created just now based on the transformation which we applied. So not only this much, you can create a document, nice document as well for each of the DBT, and then you can see how your model, what is the data, lineage graph for your model, how it is creating. So let's try that. To create a document, we need to run dbt docs generate command. You can see it will generate the project documentation website automatically. So let's use the no compile argument to skip recompilation. So let's try to use that dbt docs generate, and I don't want compilation. I will use this option no compile. Yes. Okay, let's try with this. We can see the lineage graph. We can see all the models which we created in the web UI. So it's going to create a web page for along with the documentation. Automatically, it will create the documentation, but obviously we can modify that as well. So it's doing the compilation again. And then to see the documentation or to start the web server where you can access the document, you need to use the dbt.solve. Okay. So by default, it's going to use the local 88 host. I think 88, no, 8000. Local host 8000 it's going to use. So let's see that. Okay, so now you can see it is running on this local host. We can go to the local host and see. Yeah, so here you can see the project name, same project, dbt BigQuery. This is the macro, this is the models which we created, and this is a seed file. Okay, I'll discuss about the seed maybe in the next in the class. And then this is the database. This is the this is the project ID. This is the dataset name. Inside that dataset, we have created these models using the dbt. Okay. And here you can see some more data related to the dbt. Obviously, this is a simple documentation which it has generated automatically, but we can modify that well as per our requirement. This is a lineage graph, right? So we have the college scorecard, which I told you, that the first model. And then using the college scorecard, we are creating the fast chain model. And then using the fast chain model, we are creating the last model, which is the selective fast and top 10 model. Okay. So this is how also you can generate the lineage graph. You can see your data model diagram as well, the lineage diagram of your data model. So that's all I had for this demo. If you have any questions, anything, you can ask. Any questions, guys? Anyone? Yeah, are you able to hear me, guys? Any issue with the audio, or you are able to hear me? Can someone confirm if you are able to hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. So Neha, Saurabh, Sudarshan, do you have any questions on Bhimaya? Saurabh, any questions?
No, good. It's all good.
Okay. Sudarshan?
Yeah, I don't have at present. Yeah.
Okay. Bhimaya, do you have anything?
Not at all.
Okay.
Shall we end the session, Ganesh?
So if you don't have a question, then we can wind up for the session today. And I'll talk to you tomorrow one by one. I'll call you personally. I'll talk to you. We can discuss about the more details about the course. And this training is going to start from like Wednesday, this batch. Wednesday at 7:30 to 8:30. The timings will be same, 7:30 to 8:30. Anyways, I'll talk to you one by one personally.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the demo class.
Okay. Thank you, Swagat. Thanks for your time.